Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, Crystal Heart. My name is Crystal and today we'll be canning apples. So a few weeks ago, Walmart had a huge glitch on their website for the ambrosia apples and everyone was getting them for 3 cents a pound. So for 12 apples, because that was the max, I was paying like 20 cents. So I continued to order them over and over until I actually had way too many apples. So I needed to do something with them. The first batch, I made applesauce. I did not film that, but on this batch, I decided I was just going to can the apples in a light syrup. So that's what we are doing today. I'm starting off by just washing the apples, taking off all the little stickers, and cleaning them up. I do want to apologize ahead of time if my voice sounds a little wonky. I am sick, but I wanted to go ahead and record this voiceover so I can get this video out because I actually did these apples a couple of weeks ago. So I just wanted to get the video out. All right, I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me clean all of these apples up, so we're going to move on to the next step. So here I have a bowl of water and I'm going to add lemon juice to the water. And this is just for that whenever I slice up my apples, I'm going to put that in the lemon juice water so that they don't turn brown and look all yucky in the jars once we're done, because apples turn really, really fast. Because I don't have an apple peeler and corer, I am just using a regular vegetable peeler to peel the apple, and then I'm just gonna slice it away from the core with a regular knife and kind of quarter them or put them in like little wedges because that's the size that I like them. I'm not sure if any of you have ever seen the Polar brand, and they do like peaches in a jar, fruit cocktail in a jar, pears in a jar. Well, they also do apples in a jar, and that was the first time that I actually seen apples that way, where they're kind of just in a syrup, a light syrup, and you eat it like that. Years ago, I found that, and I loved it, and I would buy it all the time from Walgreens. Well, like now you can hardly ever find the apples. You'll see the pears, the peaches, and the fruit cocktail, but the apples I never see anymore. So my goal was to actually try to recreate that. And spoiler alert, it tastes exactly like that. So I was super excited and super happy with the turnout of these. And you see me putting all of my apple scraps into this huge jar that I got. I'm doing that because I actually made or started the process of making apple cider vinegar from all of my apple scraps from this, which happened to be a lot. So I have a few jars of it. So if you haven't seen my chart, I have a chart of me making apple cider vinegar, or my TikTok, and I think I even put it on Instagram Reels. So yeah, so if you want to know how to make apple cider vinegar, just look for my chart. As you can see, I'm just cutting up the apples and I'm going to add them to the water and lemon juice, like I said, so that they don't turn brown. And that's basically all that I'm going to be doing for a while. So let's fast forward through that. I also wanted to add that if I come across any apples that were bruised, I'd cut the bruised part off and put it in the scrap bin. Or a couple of my apples had started going bad because I waited so long to get this done. So in that case, I just chopped it up and put it in the scrap bin to make the apple cider. And while I'm doing all of this with the apples, my jars are in the canner getting sterilized in some hot, steamy water. And I'm also making the light syrup for my apples to go in. I always usually do my canning in my Instant Pot because it's just easy to have everything on my countertop. So I put about 5 cups of water, I believe, in here. I think. But for every 5 cups, I put about a cup of sugar. So I'm not quite sure how much I put this time, but for every 5 cups of water, put about a cup of sugar to make the light syrup. Now, if you want to go heavier with your sugar, you like it sweeter, then you go ahead and do that. But I didn't want it to be too sugary. And you boil that water until the sugar is all dissolved, and then you can start adding your apples into that. So I'm just using a little strainer so that I don't water down my light syrup too much. So I'm adding my apples into the syrup, and I'm gonna only cook this for 5 minutes tops because I don't want my apples to get too mushy. I really want my apples to stay crispy in the after the canning process. So once all your apples are cooked for about 5 minutes, you can turn your fire off, and now it's time to start jarring them up so we can do the canning process. And remember that this syrup is extremely hot and can burn you, and it does have sugar in it, so it will burn bad. So be careful with that. And I just want to remind you guys that all the tools that I use, I will link them below so that you can pick them up from Amazon if you need to. So these jars, I don't remember what they're called, but they're kind of like an odd shape. And it was really the only jars that I had in the house that I kind of wanted to use. It was the size that I needed, so I used these jars. If I find them on Amazon, I'll link them below too because they kind of were the perfect size for these apples. But I'm using my funnel to get the apples in, and I'm giving myself about 1 inch of headspace. And what I did was I used a slotted spoon so that when I scooped the apples, I was getting just the apples and not the juice. So I put the apples in the jar first, and then I used a ladle to ladle in the juices afterwards. So that way I can get the apples all packed in before I put the actual juice in. And once again, I'll have 1 inch of headspace after putting in the liquid. Then you use something plastic. I don't have a debubbler, so I just use a straw and kind of debubbled, press them around to make sure that all the bubbles were coming out of the liquid. And after you do this, if you still need to add a little bit more liquid, then you can do that. I don't think I did in this case. And then you take your lid and put it on top. I was actually supposed to wipe the rim of my jar. I'm looking at the video now and I'm realizing I must have forgot on this jar. But make sure you take a little bit of hot water or vinegar and wipe your rim, especially with this because the water has sugar in it and you don't want your lid not to seal correctly because you get a little sugar water on the rim. But put your lid, put your ring fingertip tight, and then put it back in your canner in the water bath. And you're just going to continue on with the same process until all your jars are full and you have no more apples. And I think on this one, I'm going to show you guys me wiping the rim because I actually remembered this time. Look how beautiful this came out. I was so excited. Once your water comes to a rolling boil, then you set your timer for 20 minutes. Unless you're above 1,000 feet altitude, then you go for 30 minutes. And we're all done, and here they are in all their glory. And I always throw a towel on top just to keep them warm until the next morning. You'll start hearing all your little lids pinging and ponging to let you know that they've sealed, but you keep them sitting there for the next 12, 24 hours, whatever, until the next day. Anyway, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button if you want to see more videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.